Hello and welcome to another episode of Fully Charged. I apologise, there's been a bit of a gap in programmes recently, but I've been very busy. But I have been filming a lot of stuff about this. There's a lot more stuff to come. Today's episode is really a kind of one of my type of reviews of the Peugeot 3008. That's not when it comes out, that's the name of the car. It is a diesel hybrid. A diesel electric hybrid. It has electric motors on the back wheels and diesel drive in the front, so it's a four-wheel drive diesel hybrid, and I think it's rather nice. I'll have a drive in it later on in the show. First of all though, before that, there was a lot of news this week, particularly on the BBC, about hydrogen. There was a new hydrogen refuelling station fitted into a motorway services, that's what we call them in the UK, the services, a gas station on a freeway, or a motorway services on a motorway. And so you can drive your hydrogen car in there and refill it in minutes. So quick and so convenient. A little bit of cynicism creeping in there. I am slightly sceptical about this. As long-term viewers of Fully Charged know, I did drive the wonderful Honda Clarity, which is a hydrogen fuel cell car, a couple of years back. Brilliant car. A bit expensive. I also spent a bit of time a few weeks ago with a professor at the University of Birmingham whose speciality is hydrogen fuel cells, and he spent a couple of hours explaining beautifully the intricacies and the complexities of hydrogen fuel cells, the simplicity of the system itself, some of the difficulties, some of the beauties of it. Brilliant stuff. Two things that really stayed with me from that. One is the cost of the hydrogen fuel cell that is inside the Honda Clarity. It's lightweight, it has to be cooled, it has lots of pumps running. That's really all you can hear when you're in the car. That fuel cell costs at present £250,000 just for the fuel cell. The car itself is well over €1 million. No one quite knows exactly how much. Honda aren't willing to divulge that information, quite understandably. And you can say, yes, over time they'll get cheaper. As they're mass produced, they'll get cheaper. I've heard that argument many times, which obviously applies to battery electric vehicles as well. They will, I would think they'll halve in price, which means they'll be £500,000 in a few years' time. So I'm a little bit sceptical, but in a very specific area of hydrogen fuel cells, because what I also saw in this laboratory, which was just brilliant, was a domestic hydrogen fuel cell, not using very rare metals in the fuel cell, which a lightweight one has to do. That you've got no choice, there's no other way of making it work. This uses quite common materials. It's very, very heavy, and it's quite big, so think of it as the size of a large American top-loading washing machine. If you had a lot of solar panels and one of those in your house, you would be off the grid 90% of a year, even in this country, plus you'd be selling a lot of electricity because you'd make much more than you could use in the house. And the only waste product coming out of that system is water. It is brilliant. It is what hydrogen fuel cells should be used for. That makes sense. And hydrogen fuel cells in ships or in trains or even in large trucks and earth movers, big diggers, brilliant, makes sense. Hydrogen fuel cells in small passenger vehicles, I can't see it happening. Why is there so much pressure to use hydrogen? Why are we always being told about hydrogen as the future? Why does the Clarksonian lobby always go, hydrogen is the answer? Hydrogen is an answer, along with many, many other things. And where does the hydrogen come from? At the moment, 95% of the hydrogen that's commercially available in this country comes from natural gas and oil. The oil companies want us to use hydrogen. That's all I'm going to say about it. The Peugeot 3008. Have a look.
Ready. This is ready. Your head-up displays come up.
Yeah. Sorry,
And
I didn't want to say when you're on camera, but you need to put the gear into auto to go.
yes, that's right. So,
Right.
that's probably where we were going on.
Yeah.
before.
That's where we are.
Do you want to say that again?
See these women in the back seat, they think they know best. And they do. Right, now.
Now, gentle throttle will give you zero emission
So,
mode.
right.
As you dictate as a throttle
Yeah.
position, it will. That's the central locking.
Central locking.
Automatically.
I like that.
And then
now
you just kicked in the.
You're kidding, so the petrol engine, sorry, no, I said petrol engine, diesel engine, did that start then?
Yeah, but actually what it's doing is it's providing regenerative energy into the battery from the engine and the motor. So both motors are providing energy to the battery.
What is amazing is that is a diesel engine that started then with, I mean, now I can hear it,
yes.
But, and now it stopped.
And it stopped.
But it isn't, everything about diesels for me is,
That's right.
You know, big shuddering knots of noise.
The other unique thing about this vehicle, and it's available to us, we can go left or right, whichever you
Oh,
please.
well, you say, because I don't know.
Right.
Go right.
Is that we have a reversible alternator. That means it's a bigger alternator, and it's able to regenerate, but equally it's able to restart the engine both quietly and smoothly.
You know, although there are sound signals, I only want to explain to the viewer, there's no kind of judder motion.
No, that's right.
Shuddering. I mean, it's very, very smooth. Visibility is exceptional, and also all those things like the heads-up display. That heads-up display is genius.
It is, yes,
really
and it's on other models you can also have it with a proximity sensor, sort of radar effectively.
Right.
Yeah. So, for example, we just.
It's interesting. Now I'm just intrigued because it's like I'm driving a manual gearbox. I mean, the way it changes gear.
Ah, so you felt that? That's right.
It's not like it's not like a sort of petrol automatic where you're kind of barely aware of the gears.
That's right.
But
it's lots of torque, of course, both from petrol and diesel.
Got a lot of, yeah.
So you've got a manual gearbox that is automatically changing for you.
Right.
We call it EGC.
Yeah.
And where normally in that sort of gear changing sensation, the computer has to release the supply of fuel to the engine and torque effectively so it can change gear.
Yeah.
The electric motor is supplementing
Right.
that thrust whilst it changes
Yes.
gear, so that for you get a consistent acceleration, not just about. It's managing all of that for you.
So that's quite interesting. Like if I do that there now, the diesel engine isn't running.
That's right. You can do this almost up to about 60 miles per hour. You can be tickling along on electric because that's all it needs. If the gradient allows, and when it's largely flat.
When the car is decelerating,
like now, so
it will actually be recharging the electric batteries.
We're going. Sorry,
we're going that way.
Either of the two doesn't matter. So when you come to the traffic lights now, it'll cut out.
And once again, you're in all electric mode.
Yeah.
Let's just not put it for fun, but you can either have four-wheel drive or sport.
Right.
Sport will just say whenever your throttle demands it.
Now that immediately it's gone. I haven't done anything, but
Yes, it's choosing. So you've got a left-hand bend, and at the top of the hill you've got a right-hand bend.
Right.
Just to prepare you.
But then everything else is still functioning the same, even in sport.
Yes.
The regenerative braking, everything, all that stuff is
just
still there.
into a program mode that says whatever you do, I'll be more responsive for you, and equally I'll give you drive to the four wheels if you so dictate it.
Yeah.
And we're in rainy, slippery conditions where it's probably a good thing to have that access.
I mean, it's a lovely feel to the drive. I mean, it is. I can't believe I'm beginning to even sound slightly like an automotive journalist, but because I've now actually driven quite a lot of different cars, you do start to develop
the taste,
kind of taste and an understanding of how, I mean, very, very responsive, I think, is the word that's commonly used.
And when it gets a chance, it will regenerate, of course, because
right.
But should there be no battery left, the alternator will provide the power and sustenance for the battery to provide drive for the rear motor.
Right.
We're going to go right on this bend.
Oh, I see.
It will change down for you. Do you feel it?
Oh yeah,
it's quite nice.
It's like it is like somebody else doing the gears for you.
Yeah, and it's like you'd like to do it, revving it up or whatever. But yeah, she's given us all four. And if you do have the sight to.
That is quite a unique. I've never felt that before.
No, it is.
It's a very unique experience, isn't it?
Well,
But then you said next year, or is it next year that there's a version of this coming out that is a plug-in, so that so we'll have a bigger battery pack, presumably.
So at its best, this is a 99 grand vehicle with 74.4 miles per gallon.
Right.
Next year, as you say, plug-in 50 grams of CO2, which is very low, and 141 miles per gallon potential. It's astonishing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what gets you to work all week.
Yeah.
So if the electric motor is deploying you with even modest acceleration low down, that's the most absorbing energy, and you've got the free electricity created. So it'll only provide you with motive power up to a modest 60 or so miles per hour, because its benefit is then best provided by the diesel engine at speed.
Yeah. Because there's so many people, and it is interesting, so many people have asked, since I've ever mentioned anything to do with hybrids, electric, why isn't there a diesel hybrid? So I just want all those people who ask me those questions to go, you don't need to ask anymore. You don't need to, because I never knew the answer.
I'm sure there's many answers. One answer I'd provide is that petrol naturally is a smoother transition engine. It works better when you've got an alternative supply. Diesel is also naturally economical. So in fact, what has happened so far is it's addressed the weakness, if you like, in the construction of the petrol engine, and it's why you'll see a lot of premier vehicles, let's think of them as 4x4 vehicles or expensive vehicles without naming brands, that will have a lot more hybrid technology, not least because they can absorb the cost more easily, but because their fuel consumption is so appalling that they need a hybrid solution. We didn't need to do this, but it's just showing our capability, and will give people extremes of economy where previously they weren't available.
Even just to show off, just to go, well, my hybrid's four-wheel drive actually.
Yes.
I can imagine that being quite a popular thing. That some
the other reason it's four-wheel drive
is
that it's a modular design, so it means that we can apply that technology literally to
other vehicles, which is really clever. Yeah,
bigger or smaller.
Look at that. It's all just hunky-dory. So I put it in neutral.
Yep. And then you just turn it off as
turn it off. And wait a minute, does it? Well, the parking, because now the parking brake is. I'm now intrigued by that.
Parking brake will come on.
Ah!
You can deselect it if you only ever want to do it manually, but yeah, it's just sort of brainless thought.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but in the end, that is because that's very good.
And because it's got hill assist, if you were on a hill and you've put your foot on the brake, it will for 2 seconds keep the brake on until it realises that you've pulled off. So that's great.
Yeah.
You can pull it on and pull it on again, so if you're on a hill and you were just thinking, well, I'm not sure it's going to hold it, it will take another grab at the brakes and really hold it on. So it's an intelligent system.
So the Peugeot 3008 diesel hybrid, brilliant car, really enjoyed driving it. 2-litre diesel engine, electric motor driving the rear wheels, nickel metal hydride batteries, always a difficult one to say. Is on the market very, very soon. They've announced it already. If you Google it, you'll find it really quickly. It is a brilliant car. I'm really looking forward to the plug-in version. I mean, I think we've got to get over 100 miles per gallon, particularly with diesel, particularly in urban environments. Diesel is filthy. London has recently been announced as the third most dirty city in Europe. I don't know which is dirtier. I'm not sure, probably Athens or something like that. And it's down to the fact that we have so many diesels in an urban environment. They are filthy engines. I'm not a big diesel fan, but I'm trying to be open-minded about the Peugeot. Peugeots really love diesel engines. They're very economic. They last a long time. All those things are pluses. The minuses are what comes out of the tailpipe. But at least in this, there's less coming out of the tailpipe, and that's a plus in my book. Anyway, if you're happy, thank you for watching.